Welcome to the Couple Nurses Podcast with your hosts, Peter Findero and myself, Matt Solarchik. Good morning to everyone. Those that are new, welcome. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to finish the episode, give us a good rating. We really appreciate it. This is how we grow. This is how we grow organically, and it kind of ranks us high on the charts, and it motivates us to keep creating high-quality content. How we doing, PD?
I'm doing good. I don't know if I'm getting used to this California climate, but nights are cold. I get cold at night. And usually I wouldn't get cold unless it was in the 50s, high 40s, right?
It's a desert thing.
I don't know is it? You think so? I don't know if California's making me weak to weather. Because Chicago has a lot of times it's bad weather. And it's cold and you just deal with it because that's what you've been dealing with. But all this nice warm weather here, it's been perfect.
Yeah, there's no humidity or not as much, so those nights become very cold. But it warms up during the day, so you have that tease, and I think that's what really affects us.
I like it.
Because in Chicago, you have one steady flow because of humidity, so throughout the night, it's a little bit nice and warm.
Yeah, I like it. I personally like it more than humidity. I was never a fan of humidity. But so guys, on this episode, we're going to talk about transitioning in between night shift and your day schedules. The hardest part about night shift work as a nurse is going to be transitioning back to a normal routine once you get off work. So the keys to that is have optimal nutrition, optimum sleep, and optimal recovery for the most part, and just able to do a certain task on your off days.
That's the secret sauce to success as a night shift. And that's one thing about the medical field, that it's a 24-hour business, and there's nurses that need to be working those 12-hour shifts, 7P to 7A. Me and Peter are one of those nurses.
I'm getting over it, man.
You getting over it?
I think so. But I'm not going to change anytime soon, but a few more years tops, and that's it.
So we've been doing it for, 4 years?
That's all we've been doing is night shift.
And even during nursing school, I was working at UPS as a forklift operator. That was my thing during nursing school. And I used to go to sleep at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. because I used to work late.
Really?
If I want to get some overtime or get some extra money, I got to stay till 3 or 4 a.m. unloading trucks.
Yeah, I was opposite. I was always going to work in the morning. For the store positions that I've had, those back in the day where I used to work at a deli, in a Polish deli,
making sandwiches
and stuff like that. I was always there in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So I was always doing morning. Even when I worked in the rehab center, that was morning. Only time I would do a night shift is if my buddy convinced me because they were short 2 CNAs at that time, and he wanted because it's always easier to work with a friend.
Were you a morning person?
I was definitely a morning person, 100% a morning person. Now I'm not a morning person, not a night person. I'm nothing.
It's
so I've always been a morning person. I always used to get up early in the morning, work out. I used to always do things like that. And even in Chicago, I went to the gym after work because I just like doing that because I got that little burst of energy in the morning. That's why I like to have a structured schedule with a work schedule and line that up where I work 3 in a row. Just so I could already have that finished, and I could just transition to being days and being normal for my off days.
I feel as a night shift nurse, every single night is I could have got more sleep because it's never enough. You're always chasing and doing things and staying up because of night shift. You have energy at midnight at 1 a.m. You can do it. You can tell yourself, and it's hard to get sleep because you could stay up. You got to do things in the morning. Then before you know it, you're your 3 days are up or 2 days and you got to come back on a shift. You have to do things in the morning. You take a nap, but you still go to work and it's damn, I could use more sleep.
Yeah, night shift for sure has made me more prone to sleeping in, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
There's been times where I would sacrifice, anything just to sleep an hour extra or sleep 2 hours extra, And just because, your body, I don't know if it's a natural response, but I guess it would be a natural response. A natural response is that fear of not getting enough sleep the next day because your body takes time to adapt to shift from days to nights. So if you're always constantly in sleep debt and you're working nights, you're gonna be more prone to sleeping in because your body is never gets enough sleep. It never does. So it's always trying to catch up.
I'm also wondering about right now the people that have this very consistent routine of waking up in the morning and just running their day, Jocko, who wakes up at 4:30 and goes and hustles. Do you think that keeps you more disciplined? And if so, because right now, I feel we could sleep in whenever, do you think that creates like less discipline in sleep? So then it like correlates with like life sometimes, or you don't feel as disciplined.
100%.
Food for thought.
I'm sure you could look back on a day where, you know, the night prior you planned out to do these 4 things the next day, and it required you to wake up at 8 a.m. But the latest you get up is like 9:30, let's say, and then the next morning comes and you slept till 10:30. So that already puts you an hour behind. You're like, yeah, at the moment in time, you got your sleep, and like it felt good at that point in time. But when you wake up, you're just like, shit, I'm already an hour behind. Like I woke up and you're refrazzled because you're already behind. That's setting yourself up for basically a failure, because your whole day is gonna go to shit. You know, you might get those 4 things done, 5 things, but you're mostly gonna miss the 6th, or those 4 or 5 things that you did aren't gonna be like in your prime. So why piss yourself off right when you wake up? Like try and stick to like a good wake up routine. You know what I'm saying? Like you had those days for sure where you oversleep and you're like, God damn, I overslept. Now I can't do this. Right. Now I can't do that. Now I'm still tired. Like it's almost, you feel like it was pointless to stay up or to stay in that extra hour.
Yep. Yeah, you're constantly fighting with yourself, and that's like the hardest part about night shift is like we have to transition over. If you work threes in a row, you'll do it once a week, and it sucks. That period like blows, and everybody has a different way of getting back into it. You know, like right now for me, it's Tuesday for me and Peter. Thursday's gonna come. We probably got to take a nap before work, and then like we do 3 in a row, and then Sunday morning we decide, what do you want to do? Do you want to sleep in and get your 6 hours, wake up, or do you want to like get a lot of stuff done, take a power nap for 2 hours or whatever it might be, and let the day begin?
Yeah. So like when you transition from days to like night shift work, like the first thing I take into consideration, like Matt said, is gonna be like your schedule. Like your schedule, your work schedule. Do you want to do 3 in a row? Do you like doing 1 on, 1 off? Do you like doing 2 on and then having a few off, and then vice versa? Like that's kind of going to have to be geared towards your way. The way that works best for myself and Matt is just working 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
That way your body's not flipping day shift, night shift as often.
Right.
Because only has to do it twice a week, when you come on shift and when you come off shift.
And it's amazing for those that have the ability to have a set schedule. Great. Not everyone can have that. Like travel nursing right now, right? Like we're dealing with it where we have 3s, but then also we do like, 2 on, 1 off, and those get annoying because that one day, if you feel like you wasted sometimes, or like you're waking up and you're already like doing things and you're like, damn, I got to go to bed soon, work the next day.
Yeah, we're definitely those kind of people that like to, just like get shit done over with. That's why we like to do it for the most part. I mean, we don't always do it, but natively we gear towards, like you say, like our friend always says, batch work. We like to get our 3 nights on work off in a row. Just be done with it. Got my three shifts, got my 36 hours, got my 40 hours, whatever you need, and you're done with that. And move on to the next thing.
And for us, it's also like mentally transitioning, right? So you're going and adventuring and exploring, and we're vlogging and we're podcasting. Our mind and our focus is there. And then once work comes, we have like an off switch, and we're worried about less of those things. It happens in the back burner, and we're putting our main focus into nursing. Yeah. And it's easier doing that by doing 3s.
It's cool how that works. Like for us, that works great, but there's nurses out there that can't handle 3 in a row.
Yeah.
They do like their 2 on, and then they would have 1 off, and they would work 1 more, and then they're off. They're off for a nice stretch, but it's not as long of a stretch as is for people that do 3 in a row. That's completely understandable. No nurse out there has ever did a 3 in a row their first time and says, oh, this is great.
Not to mention, because we talk about night shift here, like not everybody could work 3 night shifts either. So, nursing's already hard 3 in a row on days. Like nights make it a little bit harder. So we respect that, sometimes you have to do the 2 on, 1 off method, and that's completely fine. But just if you feel like you're always struggling and fighting for time, because let's face it, people are busy. They're probably listening to this, driving or working out or whatever they're doing. Maybe you should plan that day and keep it very structured. Like have like an Apple Notes of what you're gonna wake up, what you're gonna do hour to hour, and just so you get that like dopamine rush of like, okay, I just knocked off a little checklist for myself.
Yeah, it always feels good, like swiping right on your reminder and saying that delete or saying it's completed.
Filling in that bubble, man.
The dopamine, yeah. But for out there, if you can accommodate for that 3 in a row, you should definitely try it. It's not gonna be easy to do 3 in a row. You're not gonna get used to a 3 in a row probably for like a few months until you're actually like, all right, let's get this going. But once you get that established, once you're able to do this 3 in a row like consistently, that's gonna change how you transition to a day person. It's gonna change a lot because literally the best thing for you to do is just do that 3 in a row. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be rough all the time, but at least you'll be more used to it, like in the long term wise, because you're just not transitioning back and forth as often. You're like cutting your transition down to half, and you are gonna you're gonna feel better. You're gonna feel more energized. You're gonna get better sleep just by transitioning less. I'm telling you, dude. It's like when I started to do 3 in a row, like that completely changed it. Like I was like, oh, this is gonna be. I'll just stick out these 3 days.
It's structure.
And then I have the rest to do whatever I want. And knowing that work is going to be done after those 3 nights in a row is just makes me feel so much better.
Yeah.
And even like on my off days, I feel a lot better than I did before. Like I don't oversleep as much, or I don't, feel as groggy, things like that.
I think the big thing to also nail down when you do 3 in a row to help it make it easier is meal prepping. I can't stress that enough. And we've experienced it because our first week back, from doing travel nursing, like we didn't set shit up where we were meal prepping. Every single day was just looking at the fridge, grabbing some shit, eating, stuffing a freaking lunchbox, and then just going. Like if you meal prep, it saves you so much time and stress because you wake up, you could kind of take time to yourself, read a little bit, look on your phone instead of like worrying about what to eat. Like you have all that planned out.
Yeah, meal prep is one of those things where if you consistently do it, it's amazing. And then the week you stop doing it, you really regret it.
Yep.
And you really learn to appreciate how important meal prepping is and how much time it actually cuts.
Yeah, that's how I think of life is just like the more you become efficient by creating systems in place, the less time and stress you have dealing with it, and you could focus on higher end tasks.
Exactly.
Like your brain is literally like a computer. And
Yeah.
it only could process so much at a time.
Yep, like that task that would normally take you, let's say, an hour to do. You get so good at it, you basically reprogram your brain to do that task quicker and more consistently. It's like biohacking for the most part. It's basically you build a habit.
Yeah.
That's what it essentially is.
Self-awareness, beautiful gift. Yeah. So let's talk about sleep, and that sleep-wake cycles are going to be like the most challenging things, and we talked about it a little bit. So there's like some goals, and it's going to depend on what kind of person you are, how well you tolerate naps. Aim to get 8 hours of sleep in general. Let's just say you might have slept like 6 hours the day before work, before your 3 on, right? So maybe take a nap for 2 hours before your night shift, like at, let's just say 3 p.m. for whatever, 2. And maybe that'll work for you. And me and Peter have like developed, just like we said, we usually take a nap when we're off. Hey, let's go through the whole thing. So let's start with going on to work. Let's just hear about it work 2 in a row. What I would do is the night before, I would stay up till 1 or 2. Midnight, sometimes I like to go to sleep. I'll wake up early like a regular person, 9 a.m., 8. I'll still do my workouts, do my things, and then I try to take a nap in by like 3, right? That's like a goal.
Yeah, 3 or 4, yeah. That way you're up by like 5, and then you start getting ready to work for the most part because we have a little bit of a longer drive here. But that's just like gives us time to wake up because different nap times are going to give you different like abilities, you could say. Yeah. Different naps are attributed to certain characteristics. Like a small quick nap between like 10 to 20 minutes is going to give you like more alertness, increased learning. But like naps that are longer than an hour, they're going to give you the same benefit and a few extra things, but you're also going to be more groggy in that sense because you slept longer and now you're kind of pushing into like your deep sleep. But yeah, the way Matt said, the way we do it, we like to wake up normally, and then before our shift starts, we like to take a nap, and then we go into work, with a coffee or with tea, and then ideally when time allows and if things aren't going crazy, we would take a nap at work as well. So like mid shift.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I like taking my naps during a shift if I can, usually like around 1 o'clock.
And the place we're working at, we have like a 1 hour period to either eat food, but we already intermittent fast, so we stop eating after midnight. So it sucks taking when you have your hour lunch at 11. Mm-hmm. If you're like that admission nurse, they front you upload. Mm-hmm. You'll go first. But if you take a nap at like 2, 3, you feel so good. But my problem is realizing that I've been napping for longer than 30 minutes. Sometimes I'll do it for like 45 minutes, and I'll have that grogginess when I wake up.
Yeah.
My brain went to a different sleep cycle, right?
Yeah.
And then you wake up feeling like shit. Where am I? What's going on?
Yeah, because then you're pushing on the border of like deep sleep, and then then at that point you need like your whole REM cycle and things like that for you to feel a lot better. Napping 100%. I used to not nap at all, and I used to look down at napping like, oh, you're napping, like you have stuff to do. But once you actually start doing it, it's one of those biases that we have, because like raised by a Polish family, like you don't have time to sleep during the day. You do everything you can during the day, and then you sleep at night. Like
you're a lazy person.
Yeah,
that's what
right.
you are.
Like my mom always told me like when I was taking a nap when I was younger, it's like you could sleep when it's dark outside. It's just like goddamn, it's like noon, I'm tired. But that's what they kind of drill into you, and it's not right. It's not true.
And night shift comes, and it's like, damn.
I'm about to tell my mom to take a nap. Yeah.
Just in general, and we talked about it on like one of our little tips, right? Like when you take that 15-minute nap, you wake up like super alert. Like those alarm fatigues that you've experienced for 4 or 5 hours of work, like it gets refreshed. So if you're a nurse that like is scared to nap, I would still do it. Give it a try because it's like a little reset, just like a computer, just like a phone when it's like tweaking, it needs to reboot. Same thing for the brain.
Yeah, if you're one of those people that always has to take like a long nap, like if you can't just nap for 10, 20 minutes, always goes to like an hour, that's fine. You can nap for an hour, but just plan for it. And also plan for being like a little bit groggy afterwards. It's going to take you, if you nap for like an hour, it's going to take you another 30 to 40 minutes to fully wake up. So like prepare for that too. You shouldn't want to wake up from your nap and then go right to work. It's not a good idea. You should leave like at least half an hour to 45 minutes of you fully waking up, fully regaining consciousness, you could say.
That's what I would consider.
So like, when to sleep? Because if you're doing like 3 in a row, if you're doing your night shift, like when should you sleep?
So now we're transitioning to coming off work, right?
Yeah. So you're coming off work. So like you gotta, like with everything else in life, you gotta figure out what's gonna work best for your body. What me and Matt usually do.
Amen. Preach.
Yeah. What me and Matt usually do is we get off work, usually our 3 in a row, 2 in a row, ideally 3 in a row, and we work out. Like we go to the gym, we work out. Probably for like 2 hours. So I'd say we get off work
pack, man.
Yeah, so I'd say we get to the gym at 8 a.m. We get off work at 7, get to the gym at 8 a.m. We have a little bit of a drive. We work out for 2 hours, probably back home 10:30, 11 o'clock. Like Matt said, we fast for the most part. We're pretty good on it. Sometimes, it doesn't always work out because you're just that damn hungry. If you had like a pretty bad shift, you're more prone to snacking. But for the most part, get off the gym, get back home, and we take a nap. We nap, like a long nap. Probably till like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Then we wake up, do a few more things, and then we're back in bed by 10 o'clock because you're tired.
So we consider our nap to be like 4 hours because you don't want to lose like a whole night's of sleep. You want to get at least some of it. So we'll do at least 4 hours, and then going back to that night, going to bed, we'll try to get at least like 8 hours in. And that's, you feel good. You feel pretty okay.
Yeah, you do feel good because that.
Like we have a Whoop band track. We have a Whoop band tracker, and like literally, we have to start getting more in depth with it. It'd be pretty cool to show it in the vlog. But like when we wake up, we feel pretty good the next day. Like that first day, we can tell that our body took a hit, but it is what it is. That transitioning is worth it because then we get to wake up and have a normal life for those 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I like looking at the Whoop because like it shows you trends and stuff, and you can kind of figure out because you know how some people aren't sure if they need 8 hours of sleep or 7 or 6. Whoop does a really good job of doing that because it tells you how well you do on what amount of hours of sleep. So, like for example, the day before I slept like 6 hours, 11 minutes, and my recovery was 93%. So it's out of 100. So that's really good, 93%. Today, when I woke up, I was at like 5 hours and like 28 minutes, and my recovery was 34%. So it just shows you like I probably need at least 6 hours of sleep to get a good amount of recovery because it's cool because it also checks your strain the day prior, and my strain goal, I didn't go above my strain goal. I was like 4 points below my strain goal. So my recovery didn't drop from 92 to 34 because I took on a lot of strain the day prior. No, it's not because I didn't take on enough strain for me to have that. So obviously my sleep, that 45 minutes that I lost that night in between those nights dropped me down that much.
Damn, yeah.
And it's cool to see because like you learn where your goal is because maybe you've been sleeping 8 hours, but you just still don't feel optimal at 8 hours. Whoop can show you, hey, maybe all you need is 6.5. Maybe try waking up an hour and a half early, and you're gonna feel so much better. Just little things like that.
And you actually could track like naps on it as well. So that all adds on to the sleep debt. So then you have like a sleep coach and tells you need this much. And I felt pretty well because if I want to perform the next day, I like look at it and actually try to wake up by that time. It's kind of different because we're kind of like living together, so we got to get up to the gym. We got to get up to the gym. I'm not gonna get my whoop. You know, I got another coach waking me up instead of the whoop coach. But yeah,
because like when you live with two other dudes, when one person wakes up, everybody else is fucking waking up.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna either make some noise or you're gonna get bored. You're gonna wake somebody up or like, hey, what are you doing today? It's either you're gonna wake the other person up because of you making noise in the kitchen, or because you just want to fucking wake them up, you know?
and especially in this house, we have like this sound system. So this guy always connects to Bluetooth and plays like some house music, like early morning. That's how I wake up. The house is shaking, man.
Right.
Actually, one of our light fixtures dropped a little bit.
Yeah, true. And we had to take off 3 paintings in the hallway. Right?
Yeah, because it was making too much vibration.
Yeah. So regarding with sleep coming off your shift, there's like different ways you could do this. The way that me and Matt did it, like I'll summarize real quick because we just went over it, is we get off shift, we go to the gym, we take a 3 to 4 hour nap, wake up at around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, do a few things till about 10, and then we go back to sleep. We try to transition that way, where we still have some time during that day, but also leave room for napping. And that whole day isn't going to be perfect because you're going to be tired the majority of that day. You just came off work, you just took like a 3 to 4 hour nap, like you're going to be tired.
You're going to feel drunk, like literally. Like you know that day you're not going to have a lot of mental clarity, and we usually don't try to podcast or do anything on those days, like straight up. Like
it'll be rough.
I can't get behind this microphone and give that same energy, that same focus for like an hour, reading over like things or just like creating great thoughts. You can't do it on 4 hours.
Yeah. It'll be rough. It'll be rough, but like I said before, you're transitioning over, so you're gonna feel like shit doing it. Every method.
Take an easy day. Like don't go to the gym that day or skip yoga, whatever it is. Like have a restorative day for yourself to transition. I would recommend that as well.
Yeah. Some nurses get off their shift and they literally go straight to bed, and then they wake up like they would normally like at 7 p.m., 6 p.m., and then they would do like 1 or 2 things and then go back to bed.
Yeah. So that's another method I've tried as well. It works well. I'll do it sometimes if I'm exhausted and I want more sleep for those next 2 days. That's what I do. I go to sleep. I get like 6 hours, 7. I wake up at 3, 4. I'll still do a couple things, but I can't go to the gym. And then I'll do things for like 4 or 5 hours, go back to sleep at like midnight.
Yeah, that works well for...
But you don't feel productive. That's what kills me.
Yeah, that's why you gotta do the small things. Take your small victories. Save like the big stuff for the next. Like you don't want to be having to drive to the DMV or do like a giant shopping list. Like if you gotta buy a few things, go ahead and buy them, but don't do anything that's gonna be super engaging. Like don't study for like your CCR exam or anything like that on those kind of days. And then there's some nurses. We do this sometimes. I used to do this sometimes. Is you get off shift and you're off for the next few, so you just stay up. So you're getting basically 0 hours of sleep within a 24-hour time frame.
It's rough, man.
That's super rough, but
my whoop turns red when I wake up that day.
Yeah. If you want to be most productive for that day, then you could definitely do that. It's going to be hard. You're not going to be able to do a lot of like cognitively enhancing things like like crossword puzzles or studying. Those are going to be kind of rough. But if you wanted to do little mindless tasks, then you can stay up and do them. But like I said, if you have to wait in DMV line for 4 hours because you need to renew your license, probably not the best thing because you're gonna keel all over.
Straight up, dude. That was a good metaphor. The way you're gonna get pissed.
Yeah.
Especially you have like a short temper, like you're like in fight or flight because your nervous system is like not well fed by sleep.
You got no sleep, so you're gonna be getting angry, aggressive that day. Just that day is probably the day if you're gonna stay up, might as well just work out.
That day, Peter's super vulgar, man.
Yeah, one of those days. You probably heard me on those days.
No
before.
filter, man. It's fun. It's fun. The last thing, as a night shift nurse, you want to get your nutrition down because a lot of nurses love to snack, and studies show that the people that snack throughout night shift actually disrupts your circadian rhythm more. Like think about it. Like you have 2 separate systems. You have the nervous system and you have the digestive system. And if you're constantly eating food throughout the night, your insulin levels are always peaking throughout the day, throughout the night, and your body's in like, there's no equilibrium between 2 systems. So at least if you fast or if you tell yourself, hey, I'm going to stop eating by like 4 or like 3, like stretch it out a little bit, at least you're giving your digestive system a break till the next time you wake up because you need that time. That's when your body repairs itself. Yeah,
the best thing to do for yourself is have like an eating schedule for yourself on night shift. And it's going to be different than your day shift one, but at least have a schedule. Like there's a reason why. Now that I think about this, is you know how we to have patients hooked up to tube feed and it's like 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You feed them for 12 hours, hook them up, with like 50 mLs an hour, and then for the next 12 hours you turn it off, or just feed them from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Like they're on a schedule for a reason because it works. Like if you have a diet, you need to have a schedule with your diet because we're making meal schedules and feeding schedules for our patients in the hospital to make them better, right?
Only makes sense we should do it for ourselves.
Yeah, it only makes sense to do it for yourself. Throw your ass on a schedule. Don't just say, hey, I'm working 3 nights in a row. I could just eat whatever I want, do whatever I want because my body's going to be, going through chaos and change.
But there's people that also say that I need to snack to stay up. So I respect you folks out there. You got to snack to stay up, but
I completely agree with that. I snack to stay up sometimes. Like if I have a horrible shift and patients are just, giving me the works, you're just like, and somebody snacking just that little joy.
That little drawer, man, that snack drawer in the hospital. Everybody has one, I'm sure that you did.
Yeah, a little bit of a rush. Like when I'm pissed and if I could have like a Snickers every hour on the hour, that would make my shift a whole lot better. That's why they feed us during these C19 times, is because food is basically, you can use it as a drug for happiness if you really want to.
I wonder if there's an association between doctors that do that too, because I see some of the intensivists just like snacking. When it's like a busy shift, man, that we have like a little drawer, man. That drawer is moving. People are taking out the snacks.
There's a reason it gets refilled every 3 days.
Yeah.
And on that last day before it gets refilled, that thing is drier than a box of, I don't know.
It was worse during C19, man. During like March to June.
Yeah, we ate good. I can imagine how good you guys ate.
People are getting food delivered all the damn time.
No way.
Snacking all the time. Sushi, Mexican food, like sandwiches.
Damn. Yeah, because we had a good too over in Chicago. And the way you guys have your snacks, I can imagine you guys are probably feasting. Is that when you were bulking?
Yeah, I was bulking, bro.
Yeah, you were bulking, huh? Good time to bulk, huh? During the quarantine.
Yeah, man. It was a quarantine 14 or quarantine 19.
Oh, it's a good one. Quarantine 19. I wonder if I gained 19 pounds around quarantine.
I didn't. I probably gained like a good 5 though.
Yeah. But then I lost like 15 inches of bowel, so probably it's gonna skew the results. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Peter, you're allowed. Yeah.
I wouldn't be allowed in research study. That's what would happen. I'm not a good sample. I'm not a good study sample.
Because you lost 40 centimeters of your small bowel.
Yeah, right. That wouldn't be accurate. Right. Same with like timing, like when you poop or how long you poop. Sometimes I eat and I gotta go shit right away.
We're talking. I was gonna say we're talking about nutrition. Might as well talk about your bowel, bro. Yeah. Is there a difference in having less bowel? Do you feel different post surgery?
Yeah, I definitely go to the bathroom more frequently.
Interesting. Okay.
In the beginning it was kind of rough. Like how sometimes, I suppose you like hold your poop in, like cause. Like, I don't know how to fucking say it without saying it. It's kind of weird.
You say it how it is, brother. This is the Cup of Nurses podcast.
Because I was going to bed so frequently, so I was holding my poop in like more often, than I normally would. And that was probably just part of the transition phase. But now it's better. Like it's fine. Like I'm pooping maybe like 1.68 times more than I did before. You want to throw some numbers in it?
You do the math really quick on the podcast. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, 1.68 times. More poops a week, which. It adds up to about, about four poops more a week, Something like that.
You're so funny, man.
That's how it is sometimes.
So, long story short, there's also a way to do things. Intermittent fast, what we do, as you know, we talk about all the time, eating schedule. You could also do big meals versus small. So, towards the end of your shift, maybe...
Like in the sense that...
give your digestion a break, you know? So, have a large meal first and a small meal towards the end.
Yeah, also in the sense that... Man, you and I could agree that if we have a big meal, if we eat a lot in one serving, we're tired afterwards, compared to when we eat a smaller meal, right? So
maybe wake up tired too.
Yeah, so maybe your issue might be you're just having instead of having 2 giant meals, maybe you just have 2 or 4 small meals.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe just because you're eating that much at a certain time, that's what's slowing you down. That's what's kind of making you feel groggy, making you feel more tired.
Yeah, me and Peter are gonna make a podcast based on like how this is actually affecting insulin and what the research is saying. Also, the effects of like night shift and like real studies. But we did not have time to come up with all that. But we're gonna. That's a little bit of an investment of time.
Yeah.
We'll definitely do it to tell you guys about.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind doing it because it's actually like pertinent to our life.
Yeah,
research is always better when it's more pertinent.
But there's so many nurses I've heard that went on days and they feel so much better. They're like, I would never do it again. Rayanne, remember, I have a nurse Maureen from like Lagrange. There's so many people that say that, so it's fact, man. And I felt pretty good being off for 3 months, and now I'm just like, damn, I feel that wall again.
Yeah, night shift, man.
So we better figure something out, man.
Yeah,
make
and
a GoFundMe account here on the podcast.
Dude.
Maybe go on day shift.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
See. And not only matters about your schedule, but you also gotta, if you're going to snack, like it's okay to snack. I snack too sometimes, but try to make it more healthier. Like do a fruit instead of like Oreo cookies or
higher
beef
protein.
jerky, something with higher protein, more of a complex carb. So that snack's gonna hold you over longer instead of just give you a quick little rush of glucose in your system.
And most people don't know that. Like if you're a snacker, what happens is your insulin levels are all over the place. Like spikes up really high, your pancreas releases up, insulin drops down again. You feel hungry, and you're like never in a smooth sailing boat. And that's all about like just optimizing your nutrition and avoiding those like sugary drink snacks.
Yeah, and same with caffeine. I don't know,
we
like
caffeinate a lot.
Yeah, we caffeinate. I don't caffeinate as much as I used to, just because, like, what I noticed is, I don't know why, but just coffee makes me poop more or like quicker. Like the time between a cup of coffee and when I got to poop before my bowel surgery, and now it's a lot quicker now than it was before. So you know what I'm saying?
2.5 times.
Probably even more. Maybe like a 3.74, man.
Wow, man.
I know, dude, 3.7 more.
That's more than pie, and pie is 3.14.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Wow,
it means you're getting up there, dude. The bell curve is hitting me hard right now. What
an outlier for the bowel surgeries.
But I think it's just coffee because like when I use the Mio or like Pre-Workout, it doesn't hit me like that. It's just whatever else is in coffee. So maybe is it strictly just caffeine that makes you go to the bathroom with coffee? There's got to be something else.
Who knows?
I feel like there's
Coffee
something in
probably
coffee.
has something, man.
Yeah, for sure it does. Yeah, and sometimes you're even better off taking a nap than actually drinking coffee. Because like Matt said, with the whole glucose and your insulin spiking, like your energy levels are going to do the same thing with coffee. You're going to have a nice rush of coffee about 45 minutes after you drink it, and it's going to last you 2 to 3 hours. If you have a high caffeine tolerance, it's not going to last you 2 to 3 hours. It might be like 1 hour or 2 hours, and that nap is going to last you well over 3 to 4.
So you know how we're talking about drinking less caffeine and stuff? That's what I've actually started doing as well, where I'll stop drinking caffeine after midnight. Because for some reason, that's why I don't like taking pre-workout and working out and then going to sleep. Supposedly it messes something up with your REM cycle where your body never fully goes through the 4 stages properly to get enough of that sleep.
I mean, it's probably going to depend on how much like the time you're doing this before you sleep.
Right.
Like
there's a way to probably track it on Whoop where I could document when I take my caffeine intake, and then it could tell me what's the difference between like SWS or all those like sleep stages.
Yeah, I don't know if they could do it like on pre-workout. I don't know if you could do it because every pre-workout's going to kind of hit differently and they all have different ingredients. But you could probably narrow it down with coffee if you want to try coffee, like because coffee half-life is 3 hours. So technically, that coffee and caffeine is still in your system at 6 hours, 5 hours.
It takes time. That's
and
why
that makes sense. So if you stop
stop
drinking coffee at midnight, and you get home at 8, you're gonna be primed for sleeping because
that's the goal.
Yeah, because if you drink coffee at 3 o'clock in the morning, if that coffee's gonna be in your system for 6 hours, it's not gonna be excreted until 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it takes longer. Yeah, that's the goal. I try to do it. Worst case scenario, I'll have I like to have tea in the morning before.
Yeah, I like tea too. Even before work.
Before a report, actually, I'll do it. Like sometimes I try to get everything done in my schedule. I have a cup of tea in the morning.
Oh, like before you about to give a report?
Yeah, even caffeine free. Like just something about tea just like gets me going. Probably like a placebo effect,
Maybe it could be it. Like your body's like tastes flavor, associates stuff with caffeine, so your body's getting ready. Like about to get a little pump, but the pump never comes.
You are what you think, right? So I just created that habit where, hey, I'm just going to get hyped on like some caffeine-free tea bag and it works,
Yeah.
I think we're pretty good here with...
like overall recovering in night shift is going to be basically on discipline and like a schedule. You need a sleep schedule, you need an eating schedule. You literally need to schedule it yourself and you have to adhere to it.
Yeah, routines are life. Routines are life. Having systems in place and meal prepping and figuring out what naps, how often and what they work for you. Like you are your own like experiment, as we say, and we do it to ourselves. We like take our bodies to like the next level by like working out and seeing how we recover, and like you should do the same, and you will figure out like the best routine that works for you from transitioning to days, nights, night shift, being a better nurse, whatever it is, like be your own like test subject and figure out how your body operates best.
Your body loves homeostasis, so the less transitions you could do, the better. The less flip-flopping from day shift to night shift you could do, that's going to go a long way. That's why we recommended batching up your days, batching off your off days. That way you're only flipping from days to nights and nights to days once or twice a week. And that routines can be most important.
And it works for us, and me and Peter, I guess we could say we biohacked it. We figured it out, right?
Yeah.
And this is the advice that we have for you. From all the solid experience we have as nurses. We're some good nurses out there, man.
I think we're great nurses.
Like what, top 5% tile?
Probably, well, for now, since we just got to California, we're probably like top 8%.
Top 8%, okay.
Yeah. Pushing 7.
Pushing 7. We're getting up to the 1%ers.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you next Friday. Peace out.
Deuces.